Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome to episode 84 of Shrigleytube Tv. Bit of a mix tonight, all sorts going on. Starts off with Bergerac, and he broke down in his new BMW, which I found very entertaining, so I went to pick him up. So bit of silliness at the beginning of the video. We do get stuck into some engineering. As always, thank you for all the comments last week. Really enjoyed reading them all, and all those constructive ones. Great that. I do have to ask a question to you guys, which is, I'm looking at ways of improving and reaching a wider audience on the YouTube. And I've got to be honest, I keep thinking when I go to videos from it, I'm stagnating a bit this, because half of the stuff I've already videoed it. We've already done carburetors, we've done this, we've done that. And I'm trying to think of things that I've not done before, you know, that might be more interesting. So if you can let me know your thoughts. I've got a friend who's telling me, he says, you need to blow an engine up in the dyno, run it to 10,000 RPM and get it to explode. And I'm thinking, oh, it's not really me, you know, but if that's what the viewers want, then I suppose that's what we'll have to do. But I'm really interested to hear what your views are, because I think that'll keep me on the right tracks. So hope you enjoy what you see tonight, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next Sunday at 7. Or will I see you next week? Oh, hang on, I'll see you on Friday at Race Retro, because we'll be there. So yeah, we'll get some interviews there hopefully and tag them on for next Sunday. Right, have a great week. Bye for now. Chaps, I've just pulled up on the M60 because Bergerac's broken down. I couldn't resist the opportunity to come and save him. Bergerac,
fancy seeing you here.
I'm only here for the content, mate.
I'm well aware. Do you want to come and hold this on with me? I don't want to be accused of...
Alright, I'll come and give you a lift. So Percy Passat has come to the rescue. We just arrived at the Moss Road depot.
This is embarrassing.
Mate, what is this, a tyre you're dressed in?
Do you like it? It's Sarah's mum's scarf.
What shoes?
And my Arthur Daly jacket. I've got my boots on.
Arthur Daly.
Been out for a nice day out, yeah.
I can't believe the stickers let you down.
I know. This is supposed to be my new reliable daily modern car.
Listen, mate, I
didn't
want to really ruin your night, but I've just had your missus and her mother in my car.
Oh, no.
And her mother thinks that you're a really nice guy. Honestly. Oh, she doesn't now, mate. I've just filled her in on all your little problems.
All of them.
Not quite, not all of them, but I need to do like 80%, and she's already turned. Right.
What a disaster.
Thank
you for coming to get me. It's
hey,
so good of you.
Mate, I just said to your missus, I said, I must have blocked Bergerac's space about 300 times in the last 5 years outside the unit with customers, and he's never once been grumpy with me.
Oh, I'm always good to you, aren't I?
Yeah, so it's not a problem, mate. I'm sure there's nothing much wrong with it, just be a fuel pump or something.
Yeah, it just died at 70 miles an hour, it just cut out and won't fire up again, so it'll be, like say, fuel pump, crank sensor, something like that. Probably a fuse. But I haven't got a handbook with all the fuse numbers in.
Oh no, nightmare. Bit of lift pump that, or crank sensor, one of the two. We'll update in the week, yeah. Yeah. Talk what this is good. This is Sunday night, and I've got 1 minute 21 content towards next week's Shrigleytube. What a result! Okay, Bergerac. What's the
bad news, isn't it?
I know. I've just seen them shining a torch in through the oil filler cap. The resident BMW expert, Mr. Dave T's, arrived on the scene. What's happened, Dave? Is the cam not going round?
No turning of the camshaft.
Yeah. No turning of the camshaft. Right, well, I've just spotted something, lads, because we've got a bit of an eagle eye. I wasn't going to phone the police or anything, but I just noticed that someone's crossed out the chassis number.
Ringer.
It's actually a ringer.
Must be a ringer, must be.
Oh my God.
I don't know why Alpina use different things, really.
They don't. It's a ringer.
No.
Right, I'm just going to go in there and make a phone call to the local police station. I don't like stolen...
my prints off it.
Yeah, stolen vehicle outside my workshop, you know. Right, well, Dave, you'll fix that for him, won't you? No what do you reckon? 1,500 quid? 5 ton for me?
Yeah, we can work with that, yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, YouTubers, so you've just watched the time lapse of me machining back this head face, and what I'm just doing a bit of we'll call it R&D. We have done this before. It's not new to the job. It's where I cut back the angle on the head face. You can see the original position there. In fact, I've put a standard head here so you can see how much material is before that face. Not anymore. This is all to do with this week we're trying to create Mr. Benoit's 1200cc, the most powerful engine hopefully we'll have ever built in the workshop here. So I've got a really exciting delivery coming with all the new parts for his engine this afternoon. So we'll do more on that later. But I thought I'd cut back this head face and have a look at how the manifold looks and what we can do with the port. I've got a chopped up head, so I want to see where the port waterways lie, etc., and work out what I can actually achieve in making a straighter run. So that's all we're after here, by the way. If you look, we've cut the manifold angle back so it's like that there. On this one it's like that, and the idea is we can take some of that swan neck out of the manifold and make it a straighter run into the engine. And these we're talking very, very small gains, but you know, on a small engine car, all the small gains add up to make hopefully a noticeable gain, which will be worth having. So we just make an effort everywhere we can and hope that on the dyno we get to see just some slightly better figures. Dyno in Benoit's engine is going to be really nervous for me because last year it was absolutely superb. It was like mega. It was the best engine I've ever had. It had like 105 foot-pound of torque. So I'm really nervous that we're not going to be able to up on it, but we'll make our best effort in the workshop first, and hopefully that effort will transpire into torque and horsepower. Anyway, we'll get on with that. Next job on this head, obviously these are the 5/16 UNC studs that hold the manifold on, but now they're at the wrong angle. They're like that, and we want them like that. So we're going to have to bung all the holes with some aluminium bar, which I've got a die for, and we'll thread it. And then we'll position the manifold where we want it, which will be higher up, obviously, because the limiting factor on this, this is one that I've been chewing out as a fast road race head sort of thing. So I've rough ported it, but you can see already you're limited to the amount of land that we can sit on there, because we've run out of material basically, because that's the cam cover gasket face. But now that we've cut it back, it's given us a right load of land. So I want to work out where the water jacket is on my scrap sport head that's chopped into a million pieces, and work out what I can do to improve the flow rate of the head. Anyway, I'll get on with that, and then I'll report back when we open the parcel. Okay, YouTubers, have just been out in the crusty Husky. She's running an absolute treat, little 930, one of the new ones. So I've had him locked away for a couple of months in his bedroom. He's been asleep because of the salt on the roads, but now that it looks like the frost has disappeared, I thought we'd get him out and we'd go and pick some bits up. Now, my mum and dad have been on Aldi in Cornwall, and they very kindly called in at the man himself, Mr. Brownsey, Rodwell Motorsport. God, I can't even speak properly today. Too excited about this. Look at this. Very nice. So we've got some very posh deep angle heads there, some spacer plates for Mr. Benoit, and some another box of bits there. So that's all good. We'll get this all unloaded, and then we probably need to look at the Husky engine, because I put this engine in end of last summer. Probably done about 1,000 miles now. I don't think I've even looked at it or dipped the oil once, so we'll have a look at that together as well. YouTubers have just lifted the boot lid cover off, which gives you access on a Husky, because it's a bit of a funny setup. You can't enter it via the back because it's got a back panel there, and the 930 engine all looks quite healthy, like it did 6 months ago when I last saw it. I just dipped the oil, and I put what I did was this dipstick is meant to run. Oh, you can't, it's not focusing, but this dipstick is meant to be for an upright engine. Obviously this is lay on its side. Oh, you can't see it. Oh yes, you can there. So it runs to the L of litre, which is basically 4 litres in the sump. So I've left that dipstick in because it was just easier access on the Husky. Not sure how it would be on a saloon car, you know, with the back panel here. But anyway, diverting. Run sweets are not this. belting engine, just a little new 930. Doesn't even leak oil, which is handy. I even ran it with the ignition module and all the ignition that came with the Talbot Sunbeam. We'll fire him up. Super quiet, this engine. Beautiful that. Right, we'll put lid on. Hopefully we'll see it again in 6 months' time. Good afternoon, YouTubers. It's Thursday. I can't believe I've not had a chance to come on the video and say hello properly this week. It's just been absolutely hectic, trying to get jobs out the door and move things along. And anyway, I've said hello now, so I'll turn the camera around and we'll look at what was in the packages in the back of the Husky. Right, so in front of me here now, I have Dennis's deep angle head. Now, Stuart's done a lovely job of all this. He's actually laser welded up the wheel string grooves because we're going to have to put new ones in the correct position to his block, which will not get out at the moment. It's all locked away, but we'll have that out soon and we'll start machining. So all the valve seats have been cut. He's put guides in it. It's all absolutely tip top, as you'd imagine from Stuart. But the best bit is he's made some cam carriers. So this cam carrier is billet, and it's bespoke to this cylinder head. And yeah, what we're going to do next is we've got a drawing. We're going to get the camshafts made to suit the carrier and the head, etc. So it's all going to be a bit bespoke. Originally, the heads ran with this type of carrier. This is my deep angle head. And this one has a 5 bearing cam carrier, which was how they did it back in the day, but bit of extra friction and just not necessary. We know that. We run big lift on 3 bearing, no problem. In the steel cam setup, not a problem. So it'll be a billet steel EM40B cam, and we're going to get them made to run straight in this carrier. So we'll get that organised next. And then this... Now, remember the offset engine, how I was umming and ahhing because I couldn't run the big follower on that cam profile? Well, this is a cam carrier that Stuart's made for me that runs the 31mm follower, which is on standard height, because I've managed to make it all work with the new spring. And obviously, look at this. I mean, he's machined all this. It's got like an inset that goes into the head so that the bucket is shielded all the way. So this is the way I want to go with all this. So it all fits inside a standard engine, so it looks completely standard from the outside, but inside it's significantly modified to suit. So yeah, brilliant job, Stuart. Absolutely stunning. Can't believe it. So next step, we're gonna have to speak to Kent, organise the cams to be made. I've had a carrier made as well for my engine, so I'll have a carrier, so I'll get a cam done as well for that. And yeah, it's just all very exciting. I just want to get stuck into it, but I've just got so much on my plate at the moment. I'm feeling the pressure, to be honest. I've got quite a lot of engines to be out for the start of the season, and then we've got a good ruck of 930s that all need converting before I move units, and the unit is looking more and more promising and ready, as you'll see later in the video. So I'm just trying to get all the work done as fast as I can. I think Dennis's engine will not get touched until we're in the new unit, and then I'll speak to him obviously, but by the time the cams come back, I think I'll be just about starting to move. So we'll get that organised this week and yeah, go from there. But really pleased with them, looking absolutely fantastic. Okay, YouTubers, little update on the offset engine, which was unfortunately dumped upside down here after we had the failed piston. So he's just sat there, Mr. Offset. Now, I'm a bit panicky because I'm mad busy. We've got loads of engines to get out, and we've got Race Retro next weekend from Thursday onwards. And then when I get back on the Monday, that following Friday, the 28th, we're at Alton Park. However, I did some Googling, and I was just basically looking at all motorbikes, typing in things like GSXR, bore and stroke on Google, and I found a 5-valve per cylinder motorbike of a similar era to this one, which was the Honda, and it's got 5 valves, and I thought, at the price of them pistons, I'm just going to buy them and see what they look like. So I bought them, and we can see the issue with this one. It just went too thin because dipstick here didn't cross-section it. So I made a big valve cutout, and it just failed as soon as we fired it up, which was rather stupid. But anyway, you live and learn. If it'd been a customer's, it wouldn't be happening, because I wouldn't do this for a customer. Anyway, we'll look at this. When I turn it over, what's really interesting is, if you look at this section here, because it's got the valve cutouts closer to the outside of the piston, it is nowhere near as deep. Can you see? It's quite hard. If I show you that angle like that. So there's a lot more material here. I reckon there's about 3 millimeters more material. It's on the same pin size, and it's the same compression height. This is all just purely by look, and it's 74 mil. So what I propose to do is get these in the jig when I get time and machine them for the valve cutouts, pop them back in the engine, get a tune out of it, load the car in the trailer, go to Alton Park and have some fun. But before we do that, we've got quite a lot to do. So we'll see how it all goes, but there is a plan in place for the offset engine. It isn't just like being forgotten about and put in a box under the bench. Okay, I thought we ought to have a little look at Mr. Benoy's engine, the new one for next year. So I have been busy. I've just not been doing any videoing because I've been too busy to stop. But I thought I'd show you first. This is the cylinder head that I had on the machine. So you can see now, got quite a nice run through there. I've just finished machining the head, so it was quite nice that I managed to get all the studs in the right place, and they all came out beautifully. So it's all the studs are in the correct angle now, and the head's all machined. So we'll crack on with finishing the rest of that. We've got to do chambers and all sorts yet. But over here, what I've got is, the ones of you that pay real good attention will know that I said to Simon, we'll put you on the new dynamics. So it's still going to be 1200cc, but we're going to change the length and the connecting rod. So I've just been doing a bit of a dry build, basically. My new spacers arrived yesterday in the back of the Husky, all the way from Weymouth, so from Mr. Rodwell. So I've been working out, that's a piston and rod that I've just popped on to see where it sits. It actually sits out the top of the block. This is one of the brand new 930 engines, so we're starting with that as a basis, so no stress in it. Nice bit of casting to work with. So I've got my spacer plates lined up. I've gone through them all, and I've found a setup that will give me the perfect deck height when I've done like a 20th hour skim. So we've got to find a way of attaching this to this to this, bore through it all, put the liners in, drill it all for waterways, sort out all the oilways, because obviously got to put the oilway in there as well. So do all that, bore it, everything. Initially I did want to get this done for him for Race Retro, but it is just not going to happen, and I'm not rushing it. I refuse to rush. So one thing I was quite pleased about is I've got some pistons and rods here, and I was going to talk about the weight of them. So this is what we call a super skinny rod. So it's a piston guided rod, so we can lose weight off the big end pin, because it doesn't go to the full width of the journal like this one. So the piston is guided by the rod. So there's no play end to end there. That's all snug. And these are actually his pistons from last year. They were brand new. He's only done about, I reckon he's done 10 hours on them. They're a forging, and despite an imp being an absolutely lovely revvy engine, because of the stroke, we only ever see really 18 meters per second, which is well down on like what we consider stressful for an imp piston, for a piston to be doing. You know, getting into the 24, 25 meters per second is where it all goes wrong, or it can, you know, become quite stressful for the piston. So I'm not concerned. Hence, that's the reason why all of the the CTCRC guys get away with running a cast piston. It's just because it's just purely down to piston speed. So a good way of explaining this, sorry, I've gone ahead of myself, is if you think every revolution the piston goes up and down, every revolution of the engine the piston has to go up and down. So if we have the imp engine doing 8,500 RPM and it's got 60 mil of stroke, it's only got to go 60 mil before it has to change direction and come back down again. So it has an acceleration and a deceleration speed, and that's where the critical stresses come from. You know, the change in direction, you got to change it so that pin is pulling it back down again. That's where the cracks start to appear and stuff like that. Now, if this was, let's say, an MGB engine with, I don't know, they've got 89 mil of stroke, so they've got a third again of stroke. Let's say they've got another 30 mil of stroke. So at 8,500 RPM, the piston's got to, every time it goes from down, it's got to go 90 millimeters rather than 60 millimeters. So therefore, to cover the same distance, it has to go a lot faster. So if you get an MGB and run it at, I don't know, what's a fast speed for an MGB? 750 top, 7,500 RPM. I've not done the calculation, but with 90 mil of stroke, I'd imagine you'd be well into the 20 meter per second area, which is, you know, where it starts to get stressful. Whereas with the Imp, because it's a short stroke engine, even running them to 8.5, they're only at 18 or 17.5 meters per second. So they just don't suffer the same. It's weird stresses, isn't it? It's for clever people. But I'm sure there's some clever people watching that are thinking, Gordon Bennett, you're making a right sausage of this, Andrew. Anyway, for the basic people, you get an idea of what I'm talking about. So what the point of all this is we'll start with this one. This is a standard 930 Imp. So it's a small bore. So it's a little bit lighter. And I think these weigh about 850. So that weighs 840. As the 998, that would weigh 850. I know that because my steel rod and pot piston conversion for the CTCRC is 100 grams lighter. So that's 750. And then the super skinny long rod job with the forged piston is 762. So it's only 12 grams heavier than the standard rod length piston. So even though we've got all that extra material, if I put them side by side, you'll see what I'm talking about. You know, it hasn't put lots of weight on, so it won't be exerting massive amounts more stress on the crankshaft, which is steel anyway. So I just look at everything that's going to cause us potential headache in the future. I don't think that the change in the rod length is going to be an issue, because we've made the effort to, you know, sort out all the different things. And I particularly like these rods because these are what we called a hollow ring dowel. So the cap is my favourite location, which is the cap is located onto the rod with ring dowels. These are roll pinned. You can see it there. That's a roll pin on one side, which works fine, but I think that this is far better than that. And this is awesome, but obviously with the material isn't the same spec as these, so we're limited on material spec. And obviously no one can ever do this nowadays because it just costs too much money to make a serrated edge like that. But yeah, brilliant. Right, I think we've concluded that little waffle anyway, so I'm going to crack on and start working out how we can bolt all this together and start machining it, and then I'll do some videoing of the boring going on when we get to it. Hey YouTubers, it's Friday lunchtime, and I thought we'd best have a bit of an update as to where we're up to, or we'll end up nearly finishing the job and not have anything to report on. So this is Mr. Ben Ahoy's block, the tall one we talked about yesterday. I've made some countersink screws to assemble the whole thing so it's all sandwiched together nice and tight. And before I remove it, I will also dowel it all and pin dowel it the whole lot together so that it goes back in exactly the same place. So these indexes inside here are where the new liner is going to be mounted. I haven't finished boring it yet. What I've done is I've just bored it enough to collapse the liner. So the original Imp liner sat in here, and they're always cast in offset. So I've gone in clocked up 100% to the original bore, but because the liners are all over the show, you end up with this scenario where they cut the machine through on one side first, and it's like a ribbed iron liner that's cast in the factory. So I've got rid of these, and the reason I've just done that and then moved to the next cylinder is just every now and again we get a scenario where you get a big air pocket behind the liner and a big hole in the casting right through to the water jacket. I've only seen it maybe 3 or 4 times, but it's a pain if you've done like all 3 cylinders, finished boredom, spent a day machining it, and then you come to the last one and there's a big hole in the casting. You're like, oh, Gordon Bennett, that's no good, is it? So I thought, what we'll do is we'll get the liners out first. I can always recenter up on this ball that I've put this diameter I've bored at the top. So I can now see that all 4 are great. So what we'll do is, now the liner's collapsed, I'm going to measure down the stroke, which is 70 millimeters, plus the depth of the piston, which is 40 millimeters. So 110 mil, and that'll be where I bore down to. And then all this meat that would normally get removed on a short rod engine, I'm going to leave it in the block so that the mains have got a bit more strength around them, because there's just absolutely no need to go any further than where the piston travels, if you sort of get what I'm saying. So that's that. And then over here, we're on a liner job, so I'm doing the same as last time, roughing out my liners. These are just cooling down now. I've got them set up in there, turned me little button to go in the end, so they all go in nice and clear. Obviously I'm gripping on the dolly there, and then it's just a friction drive. The tailstock applies a load when I wind this handle round and pushes the liner hard against that shoulder, and that's enough friction load, or drive should I say, to turn the liner. But we don't get the situation with the jaws making it like a triangle shape that way, so the liners are nice and round when we come to put them in the block, which just makes a difference. And then other news, what else have we got going on? I skimmed ahead for my mate Lee, one of his banger boys, 2.3, I think it's called a Jura Bang or something like that, Ford engine. But this one had gone bang because what happened was it had obviously done the head gasket, and then it's just been kept wide open throttle and grafting, and it torched the head basically and removed, completely blown this section of the aluminium away. So I built it up with the TIG welder, and then we just skimmed it back, took a minimum lick off it. It's nice and flat now, so that can go back to him, and you can blow it up again. So that's great. We'll carry on with turning liners and boring blocks, and hopefully we'll get somewhere by weekend with it all. Good morning, YouTubers. It's Saturday morning. Just getting on with Benoy's engine and a few other bits and pieces, and I'd had a cylinder I dropped off. It's off a Daihatsu, so it's a cylinder short. But I was just fascinated, and I thought, you know what? I'll ask the question to the YouTubers, because there's going to be some experts out there. Can someone explain to me why a cylinder head warps the way it does? So we always see them low in the middle, and I assume it's worse on that side because the exhaust ports are on this side. So, you know, I suppose we're seeing a lot of temperature in the chambers, but not everywhere else. Is that what makes it pull? What is it that makes a head warp the way, you know, they do like this, and it's all sank? Is it because of the pressure of the firing on the head gasket when it's clamped to the block? Because one thing's for sure, all the time I get a flat imp cylinder head and heat it up to put guides in it, and I get it to 150 degrees, no problem in the oven, and I never see any warping. The head stays completely flat. Is it because it's heated uniformly and it's not in a clamped state? Is it, you know, what is the reason? I'm beginning to think as I'm speaking to you now, is it just possibly purely because the exhaust gases are so localized in this area that the heat pulls the head in a funny shape? I don't know. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you guys. As you can see, the Miller, the fly cutter, it hasn't even touched there, here or here. It's really quite low, so we'll give it another 10,000 and see what happens. Okay, chaps, just wandered down to the business end of Moss Road because Bergerac's got a Range Rover on Auto Trader, so I'm going to have a go after him. Oh, he's not here. Hi, I wonder if you can help me. I'm looking for RMC Classics.
Oh, are you? Right. Are
Yeah,
you looking to buy?
I'm looking for Richard. There's apparently a classic car showroom down here.
Well, this is a classic. It's a true classic.
Hey. It's got my name all over that.
It's a bit of you, this, Andrew.
I'd love a Range Rover. I've had a Range Rover in the past. You remember a black one?
Yeah. It was on gas as well, wasn't it?
It was on gas. I love my
Absolutely wonderful.
I love my P38 Range Rover, but I've got to be honest, it made my imp look reliable.
Well, do you know what?
Mate.
This has been owned by a pal of mine. You've met Norm. He's been on the channel with his yellow Stratos.
Oh, I know Norm, yeah.
He bought this 5 years ago or so from the original owner,
Really? Oh, it's got the headline.
Lovely thing, yeah.
The headline is still intact.
Everything it's ever wanted, it's always had. The history file is insane.
Is it?
A lot of money thrown at it.
And is it a diesel engine?
It is TDV8, yeah.
I'm not sure about the wheelbarrow handles. I have to take them off for me.
Just polished them.
You missed a bit.
Quite nice though, isn't it? But they're just not worth a lot of money, are they? 'Cause the problem is the tax. There's 700 and whatever quid to tax a year,
Right.
which is a bit excessive, really.
Right. That's like
To put people off.
£700 is like double the value of any car I've ever bought. So I think I'm gonna have to pass.
Disappointing.
But no, it's lovely that, mate.
Yeah.
Does it make a nice? Does it sound like a V8?
Yeah, it does actually.
Rev it up. Let's have a listen.
I drove it back down. You live in the Scottish borders now.
Does he?
Back down the other night, and it was absolutely.
Go on, let's have a listen. You know what? That's remarkable, isn't it?
Isn't it? Very smooth. Rides beautifully, but it's not too wallowy.
166,000 miles. And a coolant leak. Oh
No
my
coolant leak.
God. Coolant level
I've got
check.
a level low, don't worry about
Level low. Head gasket's gone. I'll give you 500 quid. And don't be putting an egg in it and then telling me it's fixed. Like you did to your mate with the Lancia.
Which one?
That Fulvia.
Oh, yeah.
I'm only joking. Right, no, it's lovely that bird. If I had different times, I think I might have treated myself to that. I'd love that, but it'd be a shame because I'd get in it and there'd be bits of swarf falling off me and then going rusty in the seat.
It's the wrong colour interior for you, really.
Yeah. I'll stick with Percy Passat for now. Congratulations, YouTubers. You've made it to the end of Shrigleytube TV. Give yourselves a big pat on the back. I was going to say was just one little bit more of a video I'm going to add on the end now, which is some footage I took of the new unit. So it's still full of stuff that needs to come out of it, but the roof's on, it's got a roller shutter door, we've got to get the new windows in, and then hopefully that'll coincide with me finishing all the out of season engines that need to be back out for the start of the season, and we can start the moving into the new unit, which I'm obviously very, very excited about. So yeah, hope you enjoy what you see, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next Sunday at 7. Bye for now. Okay chaps, just rocked up at the new unit. You can't actually see it, but the new roof is on. There's the old one. Some offcuts, they even put a roller shutter door on. So I'm not sure I'm going to get Big Bertha through there yet. Might be a bit of a tight squeeze. But it's fairly good size in here. I think we're going to have some build benches along this side. Having new windows fitted. That'd be nice to build in the natural daylight. You can see better then. I'm going to put my ramp over here, my 4-post and my single post in front of it. So I can have the race car in here and work on it. And then we'll put some machines over this side. And walking through here, I'm going to have the dyno external because of the insurance. We've got a little bit of a room here. And then this is, I believe, the men's toilets. So these are all getting ripped out. And this room will be probably more than likely for storage, which I'll be able to fill no doubt in no time. And this room over here, on this side of the corridor, is the canteen. Also the kitchen. So there's a hatch there that goes out to the main unit. This may be like a clean room. I think we'll have, because it's actually got some natural light as well. Might have this as like a nice clean room. I do fancy building outside in the main area where the this one, I won't be renting this room to start with because it's got stuff in it. But everything else I'll be renting. And this is the ladies' toilets. So we've started taking all the partitions down. So that'll be a good size. I don't quite know what I'm going to do with this. I was going to rent it to my mate Will Parry. He can come and do his exhaust pipes in that room. He'll love it in there. But I don't think he wants to move to Cheshire. He loves his roots too much. So once again, that's the kitchen. Then we go down the corridor here, and that's a good size, this. I think we'll put Big Bertha in the corner over there. Row of machines. Maybe build like a partition, you know, like a big wooden shed round Bertha so that all the dust can't get in the rest of the workshop. I desperately don't want to fill the place full of grinding dust. Or put maybe Bertha in a separate place. Just don't know quite where. Because it doesn't really matter if we're building over there, but just once it gets airborne, the dust, it lands on everything. I don't really want that. Try and keep it as dust free as possible. So there you go, that's the new unit. It's got a nice roof in it. They've repaired the damaged bits. So yeah, it's looking good.